I was sitting at my desk, halfway through a hectic workday, when my phone buzzed with a voicemail that made my stomach drop. "This is Lisa," a shrill voice blasted through the speaker, dripping with venom. "I can't believe you'd leave a family member high and dry like this. Diane told me everything was set. I had to book a hotel because of you, and you'll be paying for it. My lawyer's on speed dial." I played it again, stunned. Lisa? Lawyer? I didn't know any Lisa, and I sure hadn't promised anyone a place to stay. Before I could wrap my head around it, my email pinged. A $600 charge from the Riverside Resort and Spa had just hit my credit card, addressed to Lisa Thompson, guest of Michael Carter. That's me, Michael Carter. Except I hadn't authorized a dime, and Lisa Thompson was a complete stranger. This whole mess started 3 weeks ago when I moved into Maple Grove Estates, a sleepy suburban neighborhood that screamed picket fences and quiet evenings. The realtor had raved about the security, the manicured lawns, the community VYB. What she didn't mention was the Homeowners Association, or rather, Diane Thompson, the HOA president who ruled the place like her personal kingdom. I met Diane the day after I unpacked. She strutted up my driveway, clutching a yellow citation, her lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Your trash cans VY Seibel from the street, Michael," she said, like I'd committed a felony. Section 4.3 of the bylaws. "Fix it." I mumbled an apology, dragged the can behind the garage, and figured that was that. Spoiler, it wasn't. Within a week, Diane had slapped me with fines for watering my new lawn too much, letting a plumber's truck sit in my driveway past her 6-hour limit, and me favored for my unapproved doormat. It was gray. During one of her inspections, she dropped a hint about her niece Mo VYing to town. "She'll need a place to crash for a bit," Diane said, eyeing my 3-bedroom house like it was her Airbnb. "You've got all that space. Leave VYing alone." I gave her a tight smile, changed the subject, and thought I'd dodged the bullet. I'm a private guy. Last thing I needed was some stranger related to the neighborhood dictator crashing on my couch. Fast forward to yesterday. I'm at work when my Ring doorbell app pings. The footage shows a woman in her 20s, blonde ponytail bouncing, hammering on my front door like she owned the place. "I know you're in there," she shouts, jiggling the handle. "Aunt Diane said you'd give me the code." Her voice was a dead ringer for the voicemail I'd get later. When no one answered, she stormed across the street to my neighbor, Tom. The camera caught it all, Tom telling her I was at work, her yelling, "He should have left the code. Aunt Diane promised me I'm not sleeping in my car, so he can foot the bill for wherever I end up." She peeled out of the neighborhood in a shiny BMW with out-of-state plates, tires screeching. I was still reeling when my doorbell rang that evening. There stood Diane, her smile faker than a $3 bill, holding a document like it was a royal decree. "Michael," she cooed, "this is the invoice for Lisa's hotel. Since you reneged on our agreement, the HOA board's holding you responsible." She shoved the paper at me, due $600, due in 48 hours, or else. I didn't let her in. "Diane, there was no agreement," I said, my voice low but firm. "I never agreed to host your niece." Her smile vanished. "We discussed it during my landscaping VY sit," she snapped. "You said it was fine. The board's re-VY-EU'd this." I'm not a hothead, but her bald-faced line made my blood boil. "I want the board meeting minutes," I said, staring her down. "And I'll be calling the board president myself." Her face went beet red. "I'm the president," she hissed, "and verbal agreements with HOA officials are binding." She spun around and marched back to her house across the cul-de-sac. That's when I knew this wasn't just Karen-level nonsense, this was war. I pulled up my security footage. Sure enough, there was Lisa, not just yesterday, but 3 times before, skulking around my house, testing my garage keypad, even trying to crack my key lockbox. This wasn't entitlement. It was attempted breaking and entering. I'd had enough. I called the non-emergency police line, laid out the credit card fraud and the creepy doorbell footage, then fired off an email to the entire HOA Board 5 members, including Diane. I attached the VY Deos and a scan of her bogus invoice. Within an hour, 3 board members replied, floored. They hadn't heard of any agreement and swore my property never came up in meetings. Sarah Lee, the treasurer, called me directly. "Michael, this is insane," she said. Diane's been pulling stunts like this for months, but this is next level. File a police report, and we're holding an emergency meeting tonight. The next morning, I was working from home when 2 cop cars pulled up at Diane's place. I couldn't hear the conversation, but Diane's wild gestures through her window said plenty. 20 minutes later, the officers knocked on my door. "Mr. Carter," the female officer said, "we've spoken to Mrs. Thompson and her niece about your complaint. Based on your evaluation and their statements, we're pressing charges." Diane was claiming it was all a misunderstanding, but the credit card fraud was airtight, and Lisa was on video trying to break into my house. "What's next?" I asked, my heart pounding. "They're both in custody," the male officer said. Diane faced charges of conspiracy to commit fraud, impersonating an HOA official for profit, and filing false documents. Lisa was hit with attempted trespassing, credit card fraud, and get this, filing a false police report. Apparently, she tried to claim I was discriminating against her by not letting her stay. "That didn't fly with the sergeant," the officer said, smirking. "Not after we showed him the video." That afternoon, the HOA called an emergency neighborhood meeting. Sarah Lee took the mic, her voice steady but furious. "Effective immediately, Diane Thompson is removed from the board and barred from any HOA role. We've uncovered multiple cases of her acting alone, fake violations, unauthorized fines, you name it. All recent citations are under re-VYEW and will likely be tossed." The room buzzed with gasps and whispers. Diane's reign of terror was over. The fallout was brutal. Diane got 18 months of probation, a doula, $5,000 fine, and 200 hours of community service. The judge threw the book at her after learning she'd pulled similar scams in 2 other neighborhoods. Lisa fared worse. 6 months in county jail, 3 years of probation, and full restitution for the hotel charges plus damages. When the gavel dropped, Lisa sobbed, but Diane just stood there, her smug grin replaced by a blank stare as the bailiff cuffed them. Looking back, I still can't believe how far Diane and Lisa went, scheming, even trying to break into my home, all because they thought they could bully me into submission. Maple grows quieter now, but the scars of their chaos linger. So what do you think? Was Diane just a power-hungry control freak, or was there something deeper driving her? Should I have confronted her sooner, or was staying calm and collecting evaluation the right call? And let's get real, would you have let Lisa crash at your place to avoid the drama, or would you have fought back like I did? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more wild tales. Let's keep this conversation going.